Welcome to another episode of the Rhythm of the Road podcast. This podcast is not just about the journey, but also about the growth, transformation, and self-discovery that comes with life on the proverbial road. Grab a cup of joe, buckle up, and let's embark on a journey of self-discovery, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Let's get rolling.
Hey everybody, happy whatever time of the day it is to you. I'm excited that you're back here checking out another episode of Rhythm of the Road podcast. I think you're really going to like this topic today. And here's why. Because every one of us at some point in time during our day, during our week, during our month, during our year, we do stuff even when we don't want to do it. I've been fighting with this all week, to be very honest, because I've been working on this big project that I got a little behind on. And had some other pieces that didn't come into play that were supposed to, right? That's usually when we're in crunch time or, we're trying to play a little bit of catch up. I haven't really wanted to do it. So I've had to force myself to not only find the time and make the time, but also to sit down and just physically do it. And a lot of what I'm doing for this particular project is just a lot of audio editing. So it's a lot of intense listening and editing and making sure stuff just all sounds right and perfect. So it's very intense work. It's very good work and very rewarding because now that I hear the finished product of what's coming out, it's incredible and it's awesome. And I'm super excited. And the client's, liking and enjoying what she's hearing. So that's even better. However, I've just been fighting with this all week. And I thought I would just get on here and share with you some of the things that I've been doing during this week to just finish this project. And some of the things are physical. Most of them, let's be real, they're all in our mind. It's a mindset thing. It's like you have to push through the fact that, okay, I know that this project didn't go as it was planned or it was timed out. And so there's some frustration by the client, which is totally expected. And, of course I owned all of that. But then there's also now what? Do I try to pull somebody else in? You try to go through all of these other things. And what I really landed on was, nope, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to own it. I'm the one who started it. And this didn't come to fruition. So I'm going to finish it. I'm going to bring it over the finish line. So I've had to carve out these times in my week, even though I already had a full week scheduled and a few other things that have come into my world that had made time dancing and time management an essential skill of what I'm working on every single day, but also planning out my entire weeks, usually a couple weeks ahead just because of how things are playing out. So I've had to get intentional about that and then just diving in. So what I've done is I've created a spot in my house and it's the only spot I do this. And even my wife keeps saying, well, don't you want this? And don't you want that? And how do you want to do this? Or do you want to move here? And I'm like, no, if I sit here, I can stay focused. I'm intent. No matter what else is going on around me, I can still make this project happen. I can still keep doing these things over and over and over and making sure I get through. So, which eases my brain. And here's I think the hardest part. It's literally just starting. It literally is just sitting down and hitting the go button. Because once I'm sitting there doing it, it's easy to spend a couple hours and a couple hours are gone. And then it's where did time go? But it's the 5 minutes getting to the point of actually sitting down, putting the headphones on and hitting the go button to start doing the editing. It's excruciating. It's that takes 2 hours, even though it's 5 minutes, right? So what I've been really doing is just being you know what? You're right. I don't want to sit down and do this right now, but if I don't do it right now, then it has to get done some other time. And that other time, it doesn't exist right now. And so this is the time I have. This is when I'm going to do it. And I'm still going to honor all my other commitments to make sure that I'm not any sort of extra backlog or extra things coming up. And so I've done some things where I'll get up a little bit early. I'll stay up a little bit late. I do make sure I still get some sleep because I still have all of my normal commitments that I'm fulfilling all day and all of the other people that I want to make sure are taken care of and they have my energy. But this project also deserves all of my energy. And so I'm also getting that sleep that I need. So I feel like when we talk about the sleep piece, sometimes some of you want to just be like, I'm just going to stay up all night. Well, I caution you in doing that, because if you stay up all night, you're losing something. Something is diminishing. And yes, you might make it through the night and you can feel triumphant in the morning when the sun comes back up and, you're that much farther on the project. But I have noticed in myself, sometimes I'll wake up in the morning and check the work I did overnight, even if it was I stayed up all night, it's just not quite as good. And so I caution you in trying to use that as a skill to just make up the difference, unless you've chosen that overnight time is kind of your time to work and you have a different time to do your recovery space. I'm just not that way. I'm better in the morning, even if I get up an hour or two earlier than my normal early morning schedule, and put the time in there, because I know that I function better after I've gotten the sleep, not necessarily going into the sleep. And for something that's very specific like this, and it's very technical and intentional and high amounts of in-depth listening at a very, very small, minute level, I need to make sure that I'm on my A game, and at the worst, an A- game. And that might be only because I'm moving a little slower that early in the morning, but that's okay because the quality of the product is still the same. So as you have these opportunities come up during the week, hopefully they're not happening daily, because that just becomes a stress load. And maybe that's something we need to talk about on a different episode, on how you're approaching your week if you're having daily things that you don't want to do anything of. So that's a different conversation. I'll save that for a different episode. But as you're coming up to these, try to think about some skills or some tools that you can have in place, because they are going to happen. Things like this are going to happen. I can know that I'm going to learn from this experience. I'm going to pick up some new tools, some new tricks. I'm going to hire some new people. However, this is probably going to happen again at some point in some other capacity. And I will again have to solve it. And I again will probably have to do some of the things that I don't want to do. But I will have that many more tools in my belt, in my tool chest, to be able to work through those things, not just physically, so that I'm making sure that I'm maintaining all of the other things that I'm doing, but also mentally, because that can wear you down, and you can really get in negative feedback loops and get yourself in your own kind of paradoxical thinking that nothing is right, I'm a failure. And then you have this fear-based idea or this fear-based movement forward. And that's just not going to be healthy for you. It's not going to be healthy for staff. It's not going to be a good fit for your clients, whatever you're trying to complete, whatever that task is. It might even be something to do with your family. You might not want to do stuff. We're coming up into the summer months. This episode's going to air sometime in May of 24. So think about that. You might be doing some family stuff you want to do. What are some things that you can be like, you know what? It's only for 3 hours. I can make it through 3 hours. Nothing is so painful and so awful, I don't think, that you can't put that into place. And that just gave me another idea for another whole episode. So before I go too deep into that space, I'll save that for another episode. If you're liking what you're hearing, if you're liking what you're seeing, which I hope you are, please leave a comment below. Hit the like button, subscribe. If you're listening to this on audio, remember that this is out every week on Tuesday mornings on YouTube, on our channel, Rhythm of the Road Podcast. You can watch it. You can check out the studio. This month we launched, and last week we had our first guest, Nell Tice. So thank you, Nell, for being a part of the Rhythm of the Road podcast. We'll be having more guests as they come out through the rest of 2024 and going forward. My goal is to have about once a month or once every 4 to 5 weeks to bring on a guest so you can hear someone else's story, someone else's journey, and where they're at on their road. So thank you again. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for cruising with me on this episode of Rhythm of the Road. Remember, the journey itself is the destination. Until next time, keep the rhythm flowing, and we'll see you down the road.